Hello, this video is for anyone who wants to share an Excel spreadsheet with multiple teachers who can all edit the same spreadsheet at the same time. So particularly useful for curriculum leaders who want a shared markbook so that lots of teachers can put their grades in at the same time. But anyone who collects data from multiple people, hopefully this is useful. I'll show you two different ways. The easier, faster, better way is using OneDrive, but I'll also show you how to use the older legacy sharing options, which have been hidden away in Excel, if you really want to do it that way, which some people have said that they do. So for example, I've got a spreadsheet in staff resources that keeps track of the number of pizzas that we want to order for an event. Sadly, my budget doesn't stretch to actually ordering these. But you can imagine this with your student data and their marks for different topic tests. If I have this open on my computer and then email other people to say, find the department tracker and put your grades in, when they log in on their computers, I'm sure you've all had this frustration, you get this message box that says it's locked for editing. Now, I see this most often when opening a PowerPoint for an assembly, which isn't a problem because I don't need to edit it. But if you do open something like this and put your grades in and then try and save it, you can't. At least not until somebody else closes it, and then you've got to jump in before anyone else. It's really irritating. So how do we get around that? The easiest, fastest, best way is to use OneDrive. So to do that, we click Share in Excel and save to the cloud. You will have to connect to cloud storage and put in your username and your normal school password to connect to OneDrive. Once you've done that, you can double click to see all the files in OneDrive and store it in the right place. Then, once it's on OneDrive, you can put people's email addresses in and it will send them a link to it. However, I understand that some people find this quite frustrating because it's hard to visualize where that actually is stored, and it's difficult for cover teachers and people outside the department to quickly find those files, and it's a lot harder for them than what they're used to in terms of accessing things from staff resources. I do understand that. So to make it a little bit easier, I recommend getting a sharing link, and this is the link that you could just store on Teams or email to staff. Copy that link, and you could put a shortcut on staff resources to that file on OneDrive. So to do that, right click, new, and shortcut, and then paste in that link that we got from Excel. Give a name for it like pizza orders. And then if I close down the actual Excel file, any teacher who has that link and who's signed in with their school email and password should be able to change this. So let's put in a veggie pizza request. Let's try on a different computer at the same time while it's still open. That's the Excel spreadsheet that we don't need anymore. We could actually delete that one. This is the link to the one on OneDrive. Let's click on this one. And as long as you're signed in, you should be able to see the orders. So let's have a look. On my computer, let's go to 4 veggie pizzas. On my other computer, you can see that those 4 orders coming in. Let's put a ham and a pineapple in, and different people working at the same time on the same data, and you don't have that irritation of having to wait for somebody to close it before you can work on it. So that's, I think, the easiest and the fastest way to do this. If you really want to avoid shortcuts and files to OneDrive, you can store everything still on staff resources, but you'll need to enable legacy sharing, which is hidden away because Microsoft doesn't want you to do it that way. They want you to use OneDrive instead. So to enable it, right-click anywhere on any of these options at the top of Excel, customize the ribbon, find all commands, and then scroll down until you see sharing legacy, which is this one. So you can't add it to any of the ribbon options like home or insert. It won't let you, but you can make a new tab and then rename that to sharing. Click on the new group down here and add that share workbook into that new group by clicking the add button. When we press OK, we should see that new sharing tab, and this is the option that we now want. We want to tick this box to use the old-fashioned Excel tool from a previous version of Excel that lets multiple people access a networked file at the same time. So now I've got this file open. I'm going to try it on another computer. This is the online version. I can close that. Let's open that same spreadsheet. It should say shared at the top if it works. So this won't work at home. OneDrive files will work at home. If it's stored in staff curriculum, it takes up space and the technicians will pester you to reduce storage. But it is easier to find, some people think. So the downside of doing it this way is that you don't see the changes in real time, and if two people change the same cell at the same time and try and save it, you don't know whose option it's going to be. It can get corrupted, and you're also not able to change the fancy conditional formatting or some other features in Excel. So that's why I'd recommend not using it this way. If you can get your head around using OneDrive, even adding a shortcut to OneDrive to staff curriculum if absolutely necessary, I'd strongly recommend doing it that way instead. Hopefully that's helpful. All the very best.